Hello students, from this class I will explain the new chapter called Wave Optics. So you have studied Ray Optics chapter. In that we considered light is a form of energy, and you have studied some phenomena related to light, that is reflection and refraction, and also some optical concepts about optical instruments. But we have not discussed much about nature of light, whether the light is exhibiting a wave nature or light exhibits particle nature. So today class, before entering into the chapter wave optics, we will discuss about nature of light. Based on the nature of light, so many scientists studied, and they gave some theories, put up their theories. Based on the there are so many theories are there. In that most popular theories are Newton's corpuscular theory, Huygens wave theory, and Maxwell's EM theory, then Planck's quantum theory, and next one is dual nature theory. So these are the most important theories we can able to understand about the nature of light. So what Newton theory will tell us about nature of light means, so Newton assumed or Newton considered as light is made up of particles. If there is any source, that means Newton assumed that light is emitted by the sources in the form of particles, and he gave the name called corpuscles. Like this he explained, he is successful to explain some phenomena like reflection and refraction based on ad hoc assumption. Ad hoc assumption means baseless assumption. He explained these phenomena. For example, in case of reflection, that corpuscle particle is repelled by the surface. Because of that, we will see reflection. Or in case of refraction, the second medium is attracting that corpuscles, hence there is a refraction. Like that, baseless assumptions he explained the phenomena reflection and refraction. And also for different colors of light, he explained like the size of the corpuscles are different. Depend upon the size of the corpuscles, we will see the different colors of light. And also what he explained means the speed of light in the denser medium is more, and speed of light in the denser medium is in the rarer medium is less. So he explained in his theory during 1675, but he couldn't explain some other phenomena like polarization, diffraction and photoelectric effect. So many other phenomena he failed to explain. In year 1850, one more scientist called Foucault, he experimentally proved that the speed of light in denser medium is less. So up to here people studied the Newton's corpuscles theory. Once he conducted an experiment, right? From this experiment it has proved that this Newton theory is wrong. So this Newton's corpuscle theory was discarded. So here you can able to see 1675 and 1850, nearly 175 years people have studied that Newton's corpuscular theory. And one more scientist called Huygens, in same this is 1675, here he explained his theory, that is in 1678. But Newton was highly influential person in the society, hence people studied, followed the Newton's corpuscular theory. Once after this was discarded, right, then again the people came back to this Huygens wave theory. They started studying this Huygens wave theory. So according to Huygens, he considered light is a particles. That particle name he gave as corpuscles. So what Huygens said means light is not a particle, light is a wave. Okay, and what type of wave means he considered as a mechanical wave, longitudinal wave. Okay, so you studied in waves chapter mechanical wave, non-mechanical wave, longitudinal wave and transverse wave, right? So for to say mechanical wave, it requires some material medium. In the material medium, the wave will propagate. That is called as a mechanical wave. So here to say light is also a mechanical wave, a material medium is required, right? So he assumed that the universe is pervaded with a luminiferous ether medium. A luminiferous ether. That means he imagined that the universe is filled with some medium. Its elasticity is very very high and density is very very less, like a stretched membrane. In that medium the light is propagating. Like that he gave his theory. And based on this Huygens wave theory, he suggested light is a wave, longitudinal mechanical wave. Based on this theory, he also explained some phenomena like reflection, refraction, along with he explained interference and diffraction. But he failed to explain some other phenomena like photoelectric effect, Compton effect, Raman effect, etc. Then one more scientist called Michelson and Morley, they also conducted some experiment. From this experiment, they disproved that the existence of ether. Okay, they said that there is no such a medium in the universe. They disproved, and they also proved that the light can travel in a vacuum also. So from this experiment, this Huygens theory also failed, and also other scientists called Fresnel and Young, they showed that light is not a longitudinal wave, light is a transverse wave. You know the difference between longitudinal wave and transverse wave. Longitudinal wave means the particles in the medium vibrates in the direction of propagation of wave. So in transverse means the particles in the medium vibrates perpendicular to the propagation of wave. So what the Fresnel said means, he said light is not a longitudinal wave, light is a transverse wave. So from all these experiments, this Huygens wave theory also discarded. And finally the Maxwell's put up his theory, electromagnetic wave theory, in 1873. So almost at 1873 completely this theory was discarded, and this theory was stand for 175 years nearly. But after 1850 the people again started to study this Huygens wave theory. 1678 to nearly 1873 this theory was stands. After that this was discarded. And what Maxwell said means, Maxwell, according to this his EM electromagnetic wave theory, he said that light is a not a mechanical wave. Okay, it is a electromagnetic wave, and the light propagates as electric and magnetic field oscillations. So you have studied about electromagnetic waves, so you have know that there is an electric field oscillation and magnetic field oscillation as it propagates, and most of the optical property depends upon electric field. There you will get electric field vector also and magnetic field vector also, but we are studying optics, right? So most of the properties of most of the optical properties that depends on electric field vector. So we will not consider the magnetic field vectors. We will concentrate on electric field vectors. Then by considering the light is a electromagnetic wave, we can explain most of the phenomena. Again, like reflection, refraction, polarization, diffraction. So many phenomena we can explain by considering light is a electromagnetic wave. So this Huygens wave theory failed to explain this polarization also. Okay, that we can able to explain by using EM wave theory. by considering light as electromagnetic wave. But and also one more scientist, that scientist name is called Arets. He explained theoretically what is the proof for a light is electromagnetic wave. So Arets experimentally produced the electromagnetic wave in a laboratory. For these theoretical studies, he gave an proof. For the first time, he produced the electromagnetic wave in a laboratory, and also he supported to the electromagnetic wave theory. And Arets found one more phenomena of light, that is called, he observed one more phenomena of light, that is called photoelectric effect. And Arets said that light is an electromagnetic wave, but he couldn't able to explain the photoelectric effect based on electromagnetic wave theory. So again the question arises, what whether is wave or not, or the what this light is a wave or not, or something else. So one more scientist called Einstein. Okay, Einstein used this Planck's quantum theory. Okay, Einstein used this Planck's quantum theory. According to Planck's quantum theory, he said that energy of a photon is equals to h nu. That means what Planck's quantum means what Planck said means light is made up of a particle. Light consists of a particle. That particle is not Newton's particle. Newton's particle is corpuscles. But according to Planck's, the particle's name is photon, and energy of each photon is equals to h nu. So based on this theory, Einstein successfully explained photoelectric effect. That means finally what we came to conclude means, so if we want to explain phenomena like reflection, refraction, polarization, in these cases we will consider light is a wave, electromagnetic wave. So if you want to explain some other phenomena like Compton effect, Raman effect, photoelectric effect, in that case if we consider light as a wave, we cannot able to explain those phenomena. So we have to consider light is made up of, light consists of particles. So finally we can able to conclude that light exhibits dual nature. So depending upon the phenomena, sometimes we have to consider light as a wave, and sometimes we need to consider light as a particle. So light exhibits dual nature. This is about the nature of light. After understanding the nature of light, now we will enter into the chapter called wave optics. In this wave optics, first we will study Huygens wave theory or Huygens principle. In that Huygens principle, you will study once again the refraction, reflection based on this theory. Then you will study some Doppler effects in light and diffraction, polarization phenomena. Okay, shortly I explained the overflow of the chapter. Now we will study this Huygens wave theory. Huygens principle. So in this Huygens principle, very first you have to understand what is meant by wave front. Okay, what is meant by wave front? So to understand this definition of wave front, let us consider a pool of water. So this is a pool of water, and also consider the surface of the water is very calm surface. There is no disturbance at all. And next what you do means take a plastic ball and throw that plastic ball into this pool of water. Let us consider that plastic ball is here. So after some time, again the surface become calm. Next what you have to do means you have to take a pebble or a stone. Once again you throw that stone into this pool of water. So let us consider you have thrown that stone somewhere here. Okay. So you have make an impact here. That means you have created a disturbance here at this point. Then immediately what you will observe means you will observe that the disturbance will travel in all the direction. So in a water or in a pool of water, if you throw a stone means definitely you will observe the ripples will form, or the disturbance will move in all the direction. And let us consider the speed of this disturbance is v. So and also consider that these disturbance will reaches this point where the ball is present. At that point it takes the time t. Then how much distance the disturbance has to cover to reach this point means you know v is equals to d by t, distance by time. Then distance d you can write it as v into t. In t time it covers the distance vt. That means it takes time t to reach this point, and the disturbance will cover vt distance. The question is, as soon as the disturbance will reach us that plastic ball, right, then what would be the motion of that plastic ball? So whether the ball will move outward or inward, or whether it will stay there only, what type of the motion the plastic ball will exhibits. Have you ever seen this situation, or can you predict the situation? So here definitely the plastic ball will not move forward or backward. So what type of motion the plastic ball will exhibit means the plastic ball will exhibit an oscillatory motion from their mean position. So it will exhibit up and down motion. And not only this plastic ball, you can consider a particle at this point also. That particle is exhibiting a oscillatory motion from their mean position. And what is the distance from this impact? The distance is vt. So what you have to consider? Consider a sphere, like this sphere. Here you can able to see a circle, but you can imagine a sphere also. So on this sphere you can consider a number of particles, infinite number of particles you can imagine. Like there is a plastic ball here, right? Similarly, there are so many number of particles are present on this sphere. How this plastic ball is performing the oscillatory motion, similarly all the particles present on the surface will exhibit an oscillatory motion. And how the oscillatory motions are means, suppose you have studied in oscillation chapter. So this is mean position, these are the extreme position. Let us consider these two particles are exhibiting oscillations having same amplitude, and both will reach us the extreme position at same time and again come to mean position and again goes to this extreme position. That means how they are oscillating means they are oscillating in phase. Here also whatever number of particles are present on the surface, all the particles are oscillating in phase. So we can say that the locus of all the particles vibrating in same phase, that is called as wavefront. So how to define wavefront means here a locus of all the particles oscillating or vibrating in a same phase. Why? Because at what instant the disturbance will reach us to this plastic ball, at the same instant the disturbance will reach us to all the particles, hence they will start oscillation at same time, hence they are in phase. Okay, so like this we will define the wavefront, or in one sentence we can able to define means a surface of constant phase. A surface of constant phase is called as wavefront. So I hope you understood the concept of wavefront. Then with what speed this disturbance will travel or the wavefront is traveling, that is the speed of the wave. And if you draw a perpendicular line, this is nothing but wavefront, right? Okay, if you draw a perpendicular line to the wavefront, this will give the direction of the transfer of energy from one point to another point. Or you can say if you draw the lines perpendicular to the wavefront, these lines represents ray of light. You have studied in ray optics chapter. Okay, ray of light, it will represent transfer of energy from one point to another point. This is what? Wavefront. Why? Because every particle on the surface is vibrating with or oscillating with same phase. Now we are drawing a perpendicular line. This will shows the direction of transfer of energy. That is called ray of light. So remember, the angle between a ray of light and the wavefront is perpendicular or 90 degree. So this is the basic concept to understand Huygens wave theory or Huygens principle, wavefront. And there are three types of wavefront. What are the three types of wavefront means? First one is spherical wavefront, and second one is cylindrical wavefront. Okay, and the next one is plane wavefront. So just now I explained what is meant by wavefront by considering an example as a pool of water and stone. So you can imagine in place of the stone you can consider a source of light, right? If the source of light is a point source, then what type of wavefront we will get means we will get a spherical wavefront. That means this source will transmit the disturbance or waves in all the direction, like how the disturbance is traveling in the pool of water. So around this source of light also the disturbance will travel. So at Vt radius, that means the speed of light in the medium, if you consider V, in t time it will travel Vt distance. So take Vt as a radius, you draw a circle, means whatever number of particles are present on this circle or the sphere, all the particles will vibrate with same phase. Okay, so like this we will get a spherical wavefront if we use what type of source? If we use point source. As the time increases, the size of the wavefront also increases. If you draw a perpendicular line, means what this will indicate? It will indicate ray of light. And next one is cylindrical wavefront. Cylindrical wavefront means when we will obtain, if we have a linear source like a tube light, if we have a linear source, then you can imagine around this source, you can imagine a cylindrical surface like this. You can imagine a cylindrical surface. So all the points on the cylindrical surface which are equidistant from the linear source. So what are the points are equidistant from the linear source? All the points or all the particles on the surface will vibrate with same phase. Like that we will obtain a cylindrical wavefront. So here these points are equidistant from the linear source. So remember, point source means a spherical wavefront, a linear source means we will obtain a cylindrical wavefront. And next one is plane wavefront, any kind of source, or if we consider a point source. Okay, consider a point source which is at very far distance, infinite distance. Then the wavefront has to travel larger distance, right? So while traveling larger distance, you can able to observe that a part of the wavefront, okay, spherical wavefront behaves as a plane wavefront. As distance increases, the radius of curvature also increases. Then a part of the spherical wavefront itself behaves as a plane wavefront. How to represent the plane wavefront means, so you can consider like a plane. Okay, these are the plane surface, and if you draw a perpendicular line, that will indicate the ray of light. This ray of light indicates the transfer of energy. This is the plane wavefront. You can able to see a line, but it is not a line. Like this plane surface you can able to consider. These are the plane wavefront. The sun is at a very far distance. So it is a point source. It is at very far distance. So we are obtaining wavefronts from the sun. That is a plane wavefront. So these are the three types of wavefront. After understanding the concept of wavefront and types of wavefront, next I will explain this Huygens principle or Huygens wave theory. So this Huygens principle is important for 2 marks. So what Huygens principle or Huygens wave theory will tells or explains means, consider a wavefront. Okay, this is a wavefront, or I will draw like this. This is a wavefront, a spherical wavefront. So by using Huygens principle, we can determine the shape of the wavefront after some time t. If we have seen this wavefront at time t is equal to 0, we want to determine or we want to know the shape of the wavefront after some time. Let us take that time is t. So how to get that shape of the wavefront or position of the wavefront means by using Huygens principle or Huygens wave theory. For that, what we have to do? Suppose this is a spherical wavefront. It is produced by some source you can consider. Then according to Huygens principle, each and every point on the wavefront is a fresh source or new source. It behaves as a new source of disturbance, or it is also called as secondary source. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲೊಂದು ಸೋರ್ಸ್ನ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ರೆ ಈ ಸೋರ್ಸಿಂದ ಯಾವ ಥರ ಈ ವೇವ್ ಫ್ರಂಟ್ ಒಪ್ಟೇನ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಈ ವೇವ್ ಫ್ರಂಟ್ಸ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸು ಇದು ಯಾವ ಥರ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರೈಮರಿ ಸೋರ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಬಿಹೇವ್ ಮಾಡಿತ್ತಲ್ವಾ, ಈ ಎಲ್ಲ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸು ಈಗ ಸೆಕೆಂಡರಿ ಸೋರ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಬಿಹೇವ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಅಗೇನ್ ದ ಡಿಸ್ಟರ್ಬೆನ್ಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಕಮ್ ಔಟ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದೀಸ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟರ್ಬೆನ್ಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ wavelets. So remember, on every point on the wavefront behaves as a new source or secondary source, and the wavelets emanating from this secondary source or the disturbance emanating from this secondary source will travel in all the direction with the same speed of wave. This is first point in Huygens principle. So I will write that one. Each and every point on the wavefront is a secondary. Each and every point on the wavefront is a, or I will write, each and every point on the wavefront behaves as a new source or secondary source. The wavelets emanating from these source travels in all the direction with same speed of wave. So this is the first point in Huygens principle. Then what happens? Why we are using this Huygens principle means to determine the shape of wavefront and position after some time t. We have seen this wavefront at a time t is equal to 0. Then what we have to do? We know that the speed of wave in the medium is v. In t time, how much distance it will travel means it will travel vt distance in time t. So we have to consider this point as a center. We have to take vt as a radius. Okay. This point as a center, vt as a radius. Then what we have to do means we have to draw a sphere. So for every point we have to do same thing. We have to consider vt as a radius and we have to draw a sphere. Why? Because from these points also disturbance is traveling, wavelets, that is called wavelets is traveling, and it covers vt distance in t time. Hence we are taking Vt as a radius and we are drawing a spheres. Okay. Then after, what we have to do means to get the shape or position of the wavefront means we have to draw a common tangent to all the spheres. So first point is what? Every point on the wavefront behaves as a new source or secondary source. The wavelets from these points, wavelets will emanate in all the direction with the same speed of the wave. And next what we have to do? Drawing common tangent. Drawing common tangent to all the spheres, we can find the new position. We can find the new position of wavefront later time t. Okay, this is what Huygens principle. It gives an idea to find the shape and position of the wavefront after some time t. So I explained this by using a spherical wavefront, right? So I will explain by using plane wavefront also. You can understand this concept with more clarity. So we have seen this plane wavefront at time t is equal to 0. After some time we want to determine the shape and the position of this wavefront. For that, what is the basic method? According to Huygens principle, we can consider any number of points on the wavefront. All this point is behaving as a new source of disturbance or secondary source. From this source, again the wavelets will emit. These wavelets are also called as, remember, the wavelets emitting from the secondary source is also called as secondary wavelets. Okay, the wavelets emitting from the secondary source is also called as, the wavelets emitting from the wavefront. The wavelets emitting from the wavefront is also called as secondary wavelets. And after considering this point, next step is what? Taking Vt as a radius. Why? Because in t time it will travel Vt distance. Then we have to draw a sphere. Here also, from this point the disturbance will travel Vt distance. We have to consider a sphere. So for each and every point we have to consider a sphere. And then next step is we have to draw a common tangent for all the spheres. Then this will be the position of wavefront after some time t. So like this, Huygens principle explains to find the position and shape of wavefront after some time t. I hope you understand this Huygens principle or Huygens wave theory. This is very, very basic concept in this wave optics. And also remember, we have to consider the forward envelope. This common tangent is also called as forward envelope. Okay, we have to consider only forward envelope. We should not consider the backward envelope. So this is in backward direction we are representing, right? That is called back wave. According to Huygens, based on his ad hoc assumption, baseless assumption, he said that the energy always travels in forward direction. The energy does not travels in backward direction. Hence, we are representing the wavefront in only forward direction. We should not consider the envelope or common tangent in backward direction. Remember this one. Thank you.